Hello, person who is 13 or under. If you're not 13 or under, you can ignore this message. If you are watching this video, that means that YouTube thinks that I might be a bad influence for you, and I could possibly get in trouble if I don't tell you that you shouldn't watch this video. This video talks about mature content that YouTube thinks that you're too stupid to comprehend. As a result, I believe it is best that you turn off this video and go watch something more wholesome, like YouTube Kids. Yes, definitely nothing super weird or cringy there. Just pure, wholesome, family-friendly content there. Definitely. Or stay and watch the video. I don't care. I'm not your freaking parent, okay? Do what you want.
I'm just never gonna sing again.
No, you don't have to do that, and you really don't have to do that for me.
I would do anything for you.
Swiped is even worse than you think. I know you've probably gone and seen a bunch of other reviews for this film, and you've probably already gotten a broad sense about how bad this movie really is, but you guys have no idea. You have no idea the grand scale of ineptitude that this movie boasts. This movie isn't just insulting to watch, it's also insulting to listen to and think about. This movie is bad, guys, and I mean bad. Of course, I'm sure I don't have to tell you guys this. This movie is horribly acted, this movie is horribly written, the cinematography is awful, the characters are unlikable, their motivations flip on a dime, the message for this film is so terrible and quarter-ass delivered, and the only thing worse than all of that is probably the director herself. Anne Fishman, or Mama Fishman as she's been called now, has been discovered of being guilty of harassing her critics, attacking people on Facebook and Twitter, and even threatening to sue one of her critics, that one being 17-year-old Trin Lavelle, and went as far as to call her stupid and a thief, and has threatened her by saying that she will get her YouTube channel deleted, and Audible to remove their sponsorship from any future videos on her channel. If you want to know more about all that Anne has been doing to her critics, then I highly recommend checking out Cynical Reviews' video on Swiped. He goes over everything that Anne has wrongfully done, and it also helps illustrate why Swiped is as bad as it is. Swiped was written, produced, and directed by Anne Fishman, which is always a good sign, as we all know. The movie focuses on a young man by the name of James who goes to college so he can, in his own words, create an app that will change the world.
One day, I will code an app that will really make a difference.
James.
Like, seriously? I'm not sure app making is gonna make the world a better place there, Jimbo. Have you ever thought about maybe joining the military? Or how about some mercy missions? Or at the very least, have you thought about donating to Team Trees? Link will be in the description below. But seriously though, who in their right mind would think that an app would change the world? I mean, sure, apps can be useful in certain situations, but I doubt it's gonna stop world hunger or racism anytime soon. But whatever, we gotta try and appeal to the target demographic in the laziest way possible somehow. But then, funny enough, 10 minutes later in the movie, we find out that James has already gone and done all that. He's already made like nearly 30 apps.
Which one?
Whoa, which one? Like there's multiple apps that you've made?
Oh, well, yeah, I built 17 for iOS and 12 for Android.
So if he's already made a bunch of apps that's making a difference, then why is he even there at the school in the first place? And yes, I know why he's really there, but I'm making a point. Just hear me out.
Okay, so what do they do?
Okay, well, one of them led homeless people to shelters.
Wait a minute. Let me hear that one again.
One of them led homeless people to shelters.
One more time.
One of them led homeless people to shelters.
Just for good measure.
One of them led homeless people to shelters.
Homeless people to shelters.
An app for the homeless. An app for the homeless. What? Does Anne actually believe that homeless people would actually have phones? Did Anne watch that music video for Theory of a Dead Man's I Hate My Life and decide, yep, all homeless people have phones? Not getting that that was a joke in itself? I mean, granted, I guess some homeless people would have phones, but I'm pretty sure most of them wouldn't, so an app like that would seem pretty useless in the grand scheme of things? Well, so much for making the world a better place. But let's get down to the real reason why James is at this school in the first place. There's a girl who also goes to this school by the name of Hannah, and James really likes her. They both went to high school together, and now he's basically followed her here like a lost puppy. Now, keep in mind, guys, that James is seen as the good guy of the film. The good guy. Gotta emphasize guy here. In the world of Swiped, you have two kinds of women. You have girls like Hannah, who is a smart, independent girl who is old-fashioned and believes in tradition. And then you have literally everyone else, who are just a bunch of cheap, stupid dick sluts who are perfectly fine with sleeping with whoever the hell they want and don't care about it until suddenly the script demands that they do care. This means that the night before, the girls can sleep with a guy without even so much as knowing that guy's name.
Hey, wait up. I don't care what your name is, first or last.
But then the next morning will come, and suddenly they're offended when that boy tries to leave. Like, you can't have your beefcake and eat it too, ladies? Like, that's not how this works. And yet, for some reason, the men are going to be written as the monsters here. Now, let's look into the other gender. In the world of Swiped, you have two kinds of men. You have men like James, who is a socially awkward nice guy, and I use the word nice very loosely here. And then, just like the girls, you have literally everyone else. Every other man in this universe is a greedy, selfish, stupid man who literally only wants one thing in life. That's sweet, sweet, sweet booty. Every man in this movie, and yes, even James, is motivated by the booty. And every single action used to move the story along, by both men and women mind you, has something to do with sex. Despite this though, all the men will be written as terrible, shallow, awful people just because they enjoy sex, while the women who, despite also wanting to have a lot of sex too, at least until the script tells them not to want sex anymore, will be written as victims who are being used and abused by the men, all because of the accursed dating app that James and the boys created. Even though that's the whole fucking point of it.
My friends are degenerates, but I never change them.
Anne Fishman really doesn't like dating apps. So much so that it's pretty clear that she believes that people are way better off without them. Now, how do I describe Anne Fishman in the nicest way possible? Let me think. She seems like one of those old suburban white mothers that actually believes that rock music will lead their children to hell. And when I say rock music, I'm talking about like old school rock, like Elvis Presley or the Beatles. Stuff that's actually pretty tame compared to today's music. Well, I think her mindset for dating apps is pretty much the same. It's pretty obvious from the poor writing that Anne Fishman doesn't really understand dating apps, or dating app culture, or whatever you want to fucking call it. Maybe not even modern dating in general. Every character in this movie is written so one-dimensionally that it feels more like a propaganda film, if anything, warning people about the dangers of dating apps, and dating app culture and whatnot. But to anybody who does take part in dating apps and that kind of culture, the second they watch this movie, they're just gonna laugh their asses off. It's just like Atheists with God's Not Dead. It's so unrealistic and phony that the people that this movie is insulting are just either gonna laugh at it for being so stupid or legitimately get insulted by it. Either way, it turns away so many different people. You're not gonna change their minds, Anne. All you're doing is sticking your hand in the shark tank.
Come on, Jaws, bite me.
And for those people, especially young girls who don't take part in this kind of culture, this can prove to be a very dangerous message that you're pushing onto them. You're telling them that if they use dating apps, then all that's going to happen to them is that they're going to be used like a piece of meat. That's not always the case. Believe it or not, there are men out there who do in fact care about women and don't just see them as sex objects.
Matsat, you promised I would be the best penis. Stupid.
I'm sorry.
Why don't you play your stupid game alone?
Oh, I will.
Not to sound like an inbred incel or anything, but I don't see women as objects to be used. And I think that most people out there agree that people like that, who do see women like that, are often terrible people who shouldn't be respected. You know, maybe like you. So the dating app in this film is called Jungle, and the reason for why the app was created was because the men in this film, because they've been written to be so scummy, want an app that is just for sex. But of course, real apps that already exist, like Tinder and stuff, which are already used for that sort of thing, isn't good enough. No. Those apps, which can be used just for hooking up, also come with the possibility of dating, meaning that people who use those apps may be using them to actually start real relationships, which for our three boys here is so utterly disgusting that they don't even want to think about having that possibility. This already raises so many questions about the world of Swiped. if literally every man in this universe, save for James being the only nice guy in this world that we know about, are so hyper-focused on just sex and nothing else, then how would apps like that be so successful in the first place if literally every man is opposed to the idea of a relationship? Why would women willingly use apps like that if that's what's always going to happen? Now, if all they want is sex, then no problem, I guess. But again, guys, every girl in this universe loves sex until suddenly they don't. The message of the movie is that women are being used by men who use dating apps, and it's a bad thing that women are using them. But is it though? Is it? Now look, I'm not speaking for every single woman out there. Some women love to have sex, and others don't. Some women love to show off their bodies in revealing bikinis, and others don't. Some women like hot dogs, and others like tacos. Every single woman out there is completely different. But what I think is really important here is the respect of choice. Every person is different than you, and they're not all gonna make the same choices that you and me make. Some things will make perfect sense to them in the same exact way that it would make absolutely no sense to you. That's how it is for everyone. What's important to remember is that even if you don't agree with what that person is doing or what they believe in, what's important is that you, at the very least, should respect it. Unless that person's a terrible person, in which case do whatever you want, I don't care. Whether it is a movie's quality, or what a person chooses to do with their body, and who they share it with. Anne Fishman clearly doesn't agree with a lot of people, and as a result, she felt the need to make a movie that basically says,
Hey all you people, hey all you people, hey all you people, won't you listen to me?
"You're all a bunch of whores! You should be more like me, and my strict, conservative, traditional ways. Fuck what you think is fine. I think that you need to think more like me."
I worry about Hannah.
She just doesn't get it. She's so 20th century.
I think she's like a born-again Christian or something.
That explains her.
And you didn't need to make a movie that says that. You could have just stuck to Twitter for that. Because when it comes to movie making, well, you just flat out suck at it.
The faster we're falling, we're stopping and stalling, we're running in circles again.
Swipe is an abortion that should have stayed aborted. In every way, shape, or form, this film is an utter train wreck when it comes to filmmaking. From the acting, to the camera work, to the story, to the everything else, it's absolutely atrocious. Let's start with the acting, shall we? It's terrible. Every actor in this movie acts the same exact way. No actor can get their line out without stumbling over their words.
I think you should just share with the class details about your project,
You know, I would.
Oh.
I really would, but my contract with NASA prohibits me from saying anything.
Oh, yeah, well, we're working with DNA.
You're working on DNA?
No, that's wrong.
No.
And there are times when the actors just kind of fuck around, like Anne didn't give a shit about her direction.
Nice costume.
I like yours.
Take this scene, for example. Our main character, James, is in the background back there, and he's just standing around, not doing anything, like, at all. Like, why is he there? What's he doing? Like I said, he's just fucking around back there. He doesn't care. And Anne didn't care enough to tell him to get the fuck out of the shot. A lot of the deliveries are also very dry, especially from the younger actors. Now, the adults in this movie are fine, they're passable, but the teenagers, and especially James's little sister, are just so lifeless when it comes to their delivery.
Don't try to move back into your bedroom. As you can tell, it's my home office. So I'm guessing you get sleep on the couch in the den. I don't think Mom is going to be okay with that.
Oh, come on.
Okay, what photo? Mom! No! Who do you think your real parents are? Because I can't seem to figure it out. Okay, stop the soliloquy. I get it. You want your room back. Fine. But you're gonna turn into a cyborg. Your hand and the keyboard are going to fuse, and you're gonna be more embarrassing than you already are. I just want to let you know I'm moving back into your bedroom.
Virgin.
OCD. But I might miss you a little.
Wow! That was shit.
Yeah, you can tell this chick is seriously checked out. Everybody and their grandma talks about Noah Centineo. Centineo? I don't fucking know how to say his last name. As he's pretty prominent in these kind of films, and honestly, I don't have much to add. I haven't really seen any of the other films that he's been in, but let's just say he's not really doing the cast any favors. Then you have the dialogue. Because Anna's writing this film more like a propaganda movie rather than an actual movie, the dialogue just feels so forced and unnatural. For example, you got Ben Barlow from Neck Deep here when he gets offended because Anna asked for his last name.
Rob. What's your last name, Rob?
Why do you need so much information?
Your last name is so much information?
Yeah.
No normal human being, male or female, would get this worked up over their last fucking name. It's not like she asked for his credit card number or something, Jesus. What, is he part of the witness protection program or something? Is that why he's so defensive? The answer is no, this man is just an asshole. And by this man is just an asshole, I mean Anne Fishman believes that all men are assholes. We then get the next scene where James and Hannah meet up for the first time in the movie. We find out through some really forced exposition that Hannah doesn't like James because of some humiliating thing that James apparently did to her back in high school. But because she's a weak, vulnerable female, she can't just tell James to fuck off.
Please just walk me to my dorm and then leave me alone.
Well, excuse me, princess.
I'm just never gonna sing again.
No, you don't have to do that, and you really don't have to do that for me.
I would do anything for you.
Jeez, there's so many red flags flying around James right now. I think he's low-key trying to bring back the Soviet Union.
At least tell me what you're reading.
Sense and Sensibility by Jane Austen.
Jane Austen.
Have you read her work?
I love the fact that despite being an utter creep and basically stalking Hannah at that party or whatever it was, who knows, I guess that's why he was just fucking around back there? Who knows? Again, who knows? All James has to do to get on Hannah's good side is simply talk about that book she's reading. Once he starts talking about that, all of the red flags suddenly disappear. Just instantly disappear. I love that. Sorry, comrades, no revolution today. It's like Anne has never actually talked with another person before, or at the very least, hasn't interacted with people in a really long time.
I mean, you can tell so much about a person by their name.
First of all, you're stupid. Let's just get that out the way.
This is not how people act in real life. Women would normally become very uncomfortable around a guy like this. They wouldn't suddenly change their tune all because the guy is playing off of her interest. Hey, what's with this trip? No, really. What the fuck even was that? There was nothing in her past, so what did she do that for? There's also a lot of improvisation from the actors in this movie. Now, sometimes improvisation can be quite helpful for a movie. Some of the greatest lines in all of cinema come from improvisation, and in some cases, improvisation can vastly improve upon a performance. Take R. Lee Ermey's performance in Full Metal Jacket, for example. R. Lee Ermey would go on to be nominated for a Golden Globe for Best Performance, and would then go on to become a typecast actor, where he would often be cast for drill instructor characters. So improvisation isn't automatically a problem, but at the same time, a good director needs to know when to let the actors roam free and when to reel them in. Basically, what I'm saying is that if the improvisation doesn't necessarily help the movie, then it really doesn't need to be in the movie. Stanley Kubrick has said that R. Lee Ermey's experience as a drill instructor was, in his own words, invaluable. It really helped emphasize not just Sergeant Hartman's harsh policies when it came to training the soldiers, but also into Private Pyle's eventual fall into madness.
What is your major malfunction, numbnuts?
R. Lee Ermey's improvisation helped both the story and the characters become more real to the audience. Also, I can watch R. Lee Ermey rip people to shreds all fucking day.
What's your name, scumbag? Bullshit, from now on you're Private Snowball. Do you like that name? Holy dog shit, Texas only steers and queers come from Texas, Private Cowboy. And you don't much look like a steer to me, so that kind of narrows it down. Did your parents have any children that live?
Sir, yes, sir.
I bet they regret that. Was it you scroungy little fuck? Huh? Little piece of shit, you look like a fucking worm. I bet it was you. Bullshit, it looks to me like the best part of you ran down the crack of your mama's ass and ended up as a brown stain on the mattress. How tall are you, Private? Sir, 5'9", sir. 5'9", I didn't know they stacked shit that high. Now choke yourself. God damn it, with my hand, numbnuts! You had best unfuck yourself or I will unscrew your head and shit down your neck! I bet you're the kind of guy that would fuck a person in the ass and not even have the goddamn common courtesy to give him a reach around. What is that? What the fuck is that? Bullshit, I bet you could suck a golf ball through a garden hose. Are you about to call me an asshole? Then wipe that disgusting grin off your face.
Sir, yes, sir.
Well, any fucking time, sweetheart. Don't fuck with me again, Pyle. Pick up your fucking cover. I'm gonna rip your balls off.
What is your major malfunction, numbnut?
Amazing. Rest in peace, Sergeant, and thank you for your service. Now, where was I? Oh yeah, ripping this film to shreds. Anne Fishman doesn't seem to know when to reel her actors in, if she cares to at all. There's a lot of scenes where the actors just kind of do stuff that doesn't make a lot of sense. There's this scene where Lance is trying to push this girl out of the window of his apartment, and the girl literally says, "I'm afraid of heights."
I'm afraid of heights.
But they're on the first floor. Why in the fuck would she say that when they're on the first fucking floor? I honestly don't believe that was written in the script. There's no way that could have been written in. At least I hope it wasn't. It's just too stupid. The only logical explanation is that the actress just said it, hoping it would seem funny, but it wasn't. But Anne didn't care. Nah, she was fine with it. There's this other scene where the same actress says this.
Hey, wait up. I don't care what your name is, first or last.
But she's not even talking to somebody. Why is she saying that? I know she's referring to Gold Steps here, but he's long gone, so why would she even say that? And then there's James just fucking around in the background again.
She's at a holiday lunch with her friends. Does it look good?
Looks so pretty.
Yay.
Check out this lip gloss. It has a light in it.
Stop. Can I borrow?
Of course.
Thank you.
Why'd you let that scene go on for so long? What was the point of that? Was the little sister putting makeup on so important to the plot that you had to leave that in? Why? These characters are the worst. Not only are they some of the most cookie-cutter stereotypes you've ever seen, but their personalities and motivations can literally flip on a dime in an instant. First, we have James, who starts off as this shy, reclusive guy who doesn't know how to socialize that much and is easily bullied by Lance and his friends. But then, after he agrees to create the app for them, our main character just suddenly and spontaneously just becomes this hardline dick who's bossy, commanding, and at one point even threatens to fight Lance, all because he backtalks him. James, a nerdy introvert, is actually gonna fight this obviously athletic kid. Yeah, right, movie. No way. He suddenly also becomes very manipulative and needy, forcing Lance to become his servant, which, I mean, sure, Lance has been an asshole this whole time, but for James to suddenly, without any warning whatsoever, start acting like this makes no sense from a narrative standpoint. It just feels super rushed, like, again, Anne didn't give a shit. James's motivation actually flips around so much throughout this film that it feels like I'm watching multiple characters play out in multiple films. A lot of this comes from the fact that this movie has an insanely disjointed story and an unfocused plot. Now, see if you can follow along, okay? In the first 30 minutes of the movie, we focus on James and Lance building this app that will allow them to sleep with any girl they want. We also have another subplot where we follow the girls and their perspective on this. Sometimes they like the app, and sometimes they hate it. I guess you could say it's a love-hate relationship. But then around the half-hour mark, we cut away from all of that so that James can go home for Christmas break. Then, for the next half hour, we focus on James's family. We find out through this that his parents are divorced, his father has found a younger woman to be with, and his mother has become a drunken mess of a person, but I'll go more into that bullshit later. We also meet James's grandparents, who are also in the movie, because apparently only old people know how to date properly. We then get into this subplot where James's mom actually starts using the app, and James, suddenly becoming a mama's boy for no reason, can't handle that. So he then shuts down the app for good. And then when his mom starts using the other dating apps, James is just able to shut them all down. Every last one of them down. Don't even ask how he does that, how he's able to hack into all these different apps and shit. He just can. Like, don't fucking ask. The movie will never explain it. Also, keep in mind, we still have another half hour left. After Christmas is over, James goes back to school, only for Lance and his friends to force James to remake the app. But James escapes and goes to the girls' dorm so that he can hide out there. While there, he is able to encourage the girls to take back their power. Yeah, it's so inspiring that the women needed a man to tell them that. Of course, I'll go more into that bullshit later too. So the movie ends with James making a new app, but this time it's an app for women, where men have to treat the women with respect, which no men in this universe would ever use because all they care about is sex. It's never explained how this app even works, but fuck it, who cares? The movie's over anyway. Were you able to follow along? Well, you did a far better fucking job than I did. This movie's story is all over the place, and as a result, it's hard to really attach ourselves with our main character, mainly because, like our story, he too is all over the place. When the movie begins, he wants to make an app that will change the world, but then 10 minutes later, it's revealed that he already made like 30 of them. We then find out that he went to the school so he could try and get with Hannah again, the creep. Then 5 minutes later, we find out that he just wants to go to Harvard. But wait, he just said 5 minutes ago that he came to the school so he could get closer to the girl that he likes. But now it's because of financial issues? And he didn't have enough to go to Harvard? So which is it? Does he want to get with this girl or does he just want to go to a better school? Well, turns out neither, because once Christmas break starts, we barely see Lance and his friends again. Yeah, they just kind of disappear for the next half hour. And then James's motivation is just to hang out with his family, I guess. Okay, but then suddenly when his mom starts using the app, his motivation is to keep her from dating other people because I guess he really wants his parents to get back together, but nothing about his character or mannerisms even hinted at that whatsoever. Plus, he's an adult and should realize that sometimes things like this happen, and maybe he should just get the fuck over it and let his mom be happy? But no. We can't let a woman make an actual choice of her own, now can we? And then, in the last half hour, James says, fuck the app and fuck going to a better school. He just wants to help the women take back their power. Oh, and I guess also be with Hannah, who he completely forgot about up until this point in the movie. Like, who the fuck even is James? It's like watching 10 different movies all at once. It's incomprehensible. Like, how am I even supposed to relate with a character who can't even pick what he wants to do and stick with it? This doesn't make him complex. This doesn't make him interesting because every choice that James makes has no rhyme or reason to it. He has no reason to really make the app outside of being bullied to do it. He has no reason to cockblock his mom, and he has no reason to help the girls out outside of getting his own dick wet. And because of this movie's bullshit, hypocritical message. James might easily be one of the most broken, inconsistent characters I've ever seen written in a film. And all because this movie can't pick one fucking story and stick with it. Oh, but believe it or not, he's not the only one. Lance also goes through a bullshit change of heart out of fucking nowhere. Say what you want about his character being a womanizing asshole throughout the entire film, at least he is that character throughout the entire film. Oh, wait a minute, my mistake. No, he doesn't. In literally the last 5 minutes of the movie, after everyone finds out the truth about who invented the app, and after all the women in this movie spontaneously take back their power, suddenly, for no rhyme or reason, on a fucking dime, Lance decides that he wants to date that one girl from earlier in the movie that he threw out the window. Yeah, the fucking bimbo.
Bimbo flying! Somebody catch her!
Yep, he's just gonna be the nicest boyfriend that the whole world has ever seen. He's just gonna be so damn good. He's gonna take her on dates, buy her flowers, take her to see a movie, not even worry about sex once so fucking ever, without any actual fucking prompting. He literally just changes for no fucking reason, on the fucking spot. It's like somebody played a change of heart card for Lance, and boom! He's just suddenly a super nice guy who actually wants to have a real relationship and commitment. Sex just suddenly doesn't matter anymore. Are you fucking kidding me? You may think I'm exaggerating here, but I'm not. I'm not. This literally comes out of fucking nowhere. And this movie expects me to believe that when women take back their power, suddenly the men are gonna change? Like fucking magic? Yeah, I know I made a magic card reference there, but no! That's not how it works! You can't force them to just change. Oh! But believe it or not, that is not even the worst part. I saved that part for last. So, let's talk about the parents and how fucking terrible they really are.
Let's start it here, back in 1970 something. I can't pin down the year.
Now, when I said the parents, I mostly mean the mother. The mother is actually, easily, the most unlikable character in this entire movie. Funny how she has way less screen time than all of the horrible, sexist men in this movie, but I think what really makes her the most unlikable character is really how the movie treats her. So, as we all know by this point, James's mother and father have gotten a divorce, and it's made pretty clear that the mom is not over it yet. There's a scene later in the movie where we learn, once again through horribly forced exposition, again, what the hell is even show don't tell, that the mom is so not over her divorce that she actually broke into her husband's new house in order to steal some shit.
It was not a restraining order. It was a a counselor's evaluation.
To stop breaking into Justin's new apartment.
I want my china back.
And yet Anne, in her divine feminist wisdom, will write the mom down as if she is the victim in this situation. What? What the fuck? Okay, so to be fair, the reason why the dad left was so that he could find a younger, more beautiful girlfriend. Now, sure, that is a scummy thing to do, and we all know exactly why he's doing it, but the movie never once addresses the mother's mistakes. In actuality, the mother is honestly really sad and pathetic throughout this part of the film. There's literally a scene where the mother is getting drunk and tries to force her daughter to take a selfie with her, and for some reason, this scene is played for laughs.
I'll see you mañana. I will see you. Merry Christmas.
Why is the scene being played for laughs? It's not funny. I can't imagine anybody finding this funny. You may think I'm overthinking this scene, but the daughter literally says the words, "I'm scared."
Okay, I'm not doing it unless you tell me what you're doing. I am scared.
Why are you the way that you are? Honestly, every time I try to do something fun or exciting, you make it not that way. I hate so much about the things that you choose to be.
I am scared. I am scared.
I'm scared.
I mean, granted, a box of saltine crackers could give a less dry delivery, but she still says it. Sure, the dad isn't perfect either, and the reason why he left his wife is honestly pretty scummy, but it's not like he's an outright asshole. He still tries to be there for his family, and he even tries to have a positive relationship with his ex-wife for the kids' sake. Meanwhile, the mom is getting drunk, breaking into people's houses, and traumatizing her children.
I'm scared.
And despite all of that, however, this movie will actually have the gall to treat the mom as if she's not only the better parent, but also the victim. As if she's not doing anything wrong. So much for giving women their power back. Now look, I get it, okay? Divorce is a pretty nasty thing. And yes, it can seriously break people and make them depressed and sad. One person can completely change and do things that they normally wouldn't do. So, in a weird way, it does make sense to blame the father for all of this. But with that being said, both parents are grown adults, and the father is not responsible for what the mother does. She is responsible for herself and her children. The father, at the very least, is still trying to be there for his kids, and is trying to let them know that things can still be normal despite this drastic change in their life. All that the mom is doing, however, is sulking, getting drunk, and making things 1,000 times harder than it needs to be. And keep in mind, again, this movie is playing off this depressing shit as a joke. It is not taking the mother's depression or alcoholism very seriously. You want us to feel for this woman, but all you're doing is pointing your finger at this really sad and pathetic scene and laughing at her misery. How can you expect people to think that you care about women and gender equality when you write your female characters so goddamn poorly? Oh, and the real kicker for this shit comes near the end of the movie. So after finally trying to move on from the father and start dating again, the mom starts using the app that James built, but because James has mommy issues all of a sudden, he shuts down the app. James's father, learning about her moving on, suddenly realizes that he still loves the mother and says that he'll do whatever it takes to fix his mistake. And what does the mother say in response?
I will make it up to you the rest of my life.
Yeah, you will.
What is your major malfunction, numbnuts?
Are you serious? Are you dead serious? Are you fucking kidding me? Oh, so what? The dad just gets all the blame for this? The mom just gets away scot-free with everything she did? Seriously? So the mom could just break into this house, traumatize her children with her alcoholism and depression, but it's the father who has to answer for his mistakes? What about hers? Yeah, sure, I get it. The dad really did fuck up, but you're honestly gonna sit there and act like the mom is a fucking saint? Like, she didn't do anything wrong? Oh, of course she didn't do anything wrong. She's the female. She's the one who had her whole life ruined. It's the man who's really awful. Fuck you, they're both awful parents. But at the very least, the father tried to be there for his kids. The mother only gave a shit about her own fucking problems. And the fact that this fucking movie had the nerve to try and paint this horrible character as if she's the victim really grinds my gears. Fuck you! This movie can't even stick to the message that it wants to preach. I mean, it's pretty clear what the message of the movie is. Women are mighty warriors and men are all fucking pigs. But I think it's honestly really funny that you need a guy to practically mansplain to the women that they're going to take their power back. So, judging from how Anne has reacted to criticism in the last couple of months, it's made pretty clear that she has a pretty strong bias against women. She slut-shames them, she attacks them, and in one case, she even threatened to sue a 17-year-old girl, all because she reviewed the movie and gave it a negative review. And hurt her precious feelings. But at the same time, she actually has this weird respect for men. Despite writing them all as horrible people in her movie, she couldn't really bring herself to treat male critics the same way when they all also gave negative reviews. She didn't threaten them, she didn't take down their videos, she sent them an email, sure, but
What good would that do?
hell, she didn't even have the lady balls to make her main character a female. Like, what the hell's up with that? I mean, sure, okay, maybe respect isn't the right word here, but I do find it rather interesting how, despite being an obvious man-hating feminist that would put Mary Ann to shame, she actually treats women in real life worse than the men she supposedly hates. Now, obviously this kind of gross behavior is bad no matter what gender it's being targeted towards, but it just brings out the hypocrisy in this movie's message even more. When men shit on the movie, all they really get is a slap on the wrist, if you can even call a strong-worded email that, but when a 17-year-old girl does the same exact thing, she gets her video taken down, and she gets threatened with a lawsuit. That's not very feminist, Anne. Bullying her, threatening her channel, threatening to take her sponsorship away. It's like you actually trained with Daddy Derek on how to be such a scummy person when it comes to fair use law. But at the very least, Daddy Derek didn't pretend to be all social justice warrior about Cool Cat. He just made a really shitty kids film. You, on the other hand, made a really shitty propaganda film. The reason why I bring up this kind of half-assed behavior from Anne is because in this movie, all the women, despite taking their power back, still need a man in their life in order to be worth anything. When the app is created, it's made pretty obvious what the app is for. It's a hookup app where you give no personal information, you just put out there a photo of yourself, and a place and time where you want to meet up, you fuck, and then that's it. First of all, that is insanely creepy. No one in the right mind, male or female, would ever use an app like that. It's just way too easy to take advantage of. Anne says that with this movie, she wanted to warn people about the dangers of dating apps and internet dating in general. And while, sure, it's not perfect, Anne doesn't actually go into the real dangers of internet dating, or dating apps, or dating app culture, or whatever you want to call it. Catfishing, robbery, rape, murder, all of these are genuine threats that people face when it comes to internet dating and using dating apps like Tinder. But the movie never once even addresses any of these themes. Really, the only problem that the movie says is a threat to people when it comes to dating apps is, well, men are pigs! All of them only care about one thing, and that's getting their dick wet. And that's the worst crime of all. But outside of being incredibly sexist, this movie can't even stick with its message. The movie wants to warn people about the dangers of dating apps, but when Lance and his friends are telling people about the app, they literally say there's no age restriction.
This has no age restriction. Give it to your 5-year-old cousin if you need to.
Give it to your 5-year-old cousin if you need to. These guys are literally endorsing pedophilia. Now, at first, I thought this was just another improvised line that the actors said just to fuck around some more. But no. Near the end of the movie, we actually see a 10-year-old boy using the app. An app made specifically for sex. An app where all you have to do to have a profile is to put up a picture of yourself, and that's it. This little boy is about to be molested as if he dropped the fucking soap. And the movie is actually playing it off like it's a goddamn joke! Unbelievable! And do I even need to talk about the terrible dialogue in the scene as well? Just listen to it.
We don't have the time to know a girl's name. We don't have the time for them to know our name.
Who does?
We got school.
Yeah, guys, that 2 seconds it takes to say your last name could go to more important things like school. This movie is a fucking embarrassment, and everyone involved with it should be fucking ashamed.
If you come in this room again while I'm home or while I'm away, I'll send out a message and it'll go viral that you have an STD.
Okay, well, that's a lie. I haven't even...
Even better, a virgin. Abstinence is far worse stigma in public high school. Nothing will ruin your social standing faster.
Wait a minute. Now you're actually telling girls that in order to have any worth in the real world, they have to have sex with somebody? What is your message? This movie also has this strangely dismissive tone against sex in general. Like, it's okay to have some fun as long as you're not really hurting anybody, but this movie actually treats sex like it's really bad, unless the two people having sex are like super pure and only committed to each other, like as if they were married or something. Now, I'm not shitting on people who want to wait for the right person to do it with. There's nothing wrong with that. But at the same time, again, not everyone is like that. There are people out there, both men and women, who love sex and love having it. And there's nothing wrong with that either, as long as they're not hurting anyone. Now, the women in this movie love to bitch about how they are getting hurt from the app, and you're supposed to feel bad for them. Especially in this one scene when this girl is crying over the app and the boys are laughing at them. Oh, what scumbags. But here's the reason why I don't care. The girls are all idiots. It's very obvious from the very beginning that the app was designed just for sex and sex alone. When the girls use the app, it should be blatantly obvious what they are going to get from the app. It's not an app made for making connections or relationships. It's an app for quick, meaningless sex. And that's it. The girls should know this when they willingly use the app. But then when the guy leaves the next morning, suddenly the girls are upset? Like, you're kidding me, right? You can't put this crap on the men. They were just using the app the way that it was designed. It's not their fault the girls are too damn stupid to realize what the app is really for. It should fucking literally say what the app is for on the goddamn app store. And it's not like Lance and his friends are shy about their intentions or are lying about it. Just like you wanted, Anne, every single man in this universe are fucking pigs who only care about sex.
Who have you met?
Well, you're not allowed to call it meeting anyone.
Because you just hook up with them one time.
Unless the guy hits a certain button that brings you back a second time.
But you're not allowed to say anything.
Or tell him yours.
Or ask him any questions.
Or they'll kick you off the platform and you have to wait 2 weeks for a retraining period.
Okay.
You expect me to care about these women when they are too damn stupid to just not use the app? The app should tell the user what it's for, and yet the girls are using it to try and actually find real relationships? Sorry, Anne, I don't care, and I don't think any normal person would. We don't feel bad for idiots, we laugh at them. Just look at what's going on in the White House right now, it's fucking ridiculous. When idiots do stupid shit, it's pretty damn hard to feel bad for them when suddenly it bites them in the ass. You can't eat McDonald's every day for a full year, but then when you get diabetes, go and blame McDonald's. That's not how it works. I don't feel bad for these girls, they should have known better. Now, if one of the girls were to, maybe get pregnant or something, then I could understand the struggle. What was meant to be a harmless night of fun just suddenly became a lifetime commitment. Something that's actually kind of relatable for a lot of girls. But no, this movie just wants everyone who uses dating apps to look like fucking idiots. Look, I get it. Dating apps aren't for everyone, and it does have its problems. But I think what Anne Fishman fails to realize is people, no matter what their gender is, should be allowed to make whatever choice they want. If people want to use dating apps and have fun in whatever way they want, as long as they're not hurting themselves or anyone else in the end, then that's perfectly fine. I couldn't find out how old she is, but Anne is clearly in her later years. So I think she has this pretty extreme bias against modern day styles of dating, seeing them simply as harmful, demoralizing, and all that crap that she's been recorded as saying. Now again, if you want to know more about all the shit she's been doing, you can check out Cynical Reviews video on it. But it's pretty clear that she's just an older woman who can't accept how the real world works now. She grew up in a different world and believes in a different mindset. Back in the day, men were seen as honorable gentlemen and women were seen as respectable wives. And it's pretty clear with both this movie and her reaction to criticism that she thinks that all of that is completely gone. Nowadays, you have your Jake Pauls and your Bod Bobbies, but it's not like everyone is like that. You know, believe it or not, most people find the Jake Pauls and the Bod Bobbies of society as nothing more than jokes. Nobody really takes them that seriously. So to lump us all up together like that is genuinely kind of insulting. That's like saying that every German was a or Star Wars as a whole is awful just because The Last Jedi sucked. If you believe in older traditions, then fine, there is some merit to still believing in them. But if you honestly think that your belief justifies your shitty behavior and your shitty message, then Cynical Reviews was right. You really are a shitty person. And no, this movie is not satire in any way. Or if it is, then it's the worst satire I have ever fucking seen. When it came to addressing critics, one of Anne's main defenses included, it's called satire. Yeah, like that means anything. But she doesn't exactly go in depth to try and explain her point. It's about as flimsy as a defense as you could possibly get.
I'll take it from here, Razor.
Shay? Whoa, what the fuck are you doing here?
Oh, I can smell bad movies like a bajillion miles away. Also, can I borrow $20?
$20? For what?
I recall someone calling in a lot of energy a while ago to destroy a certain movie that isn't in a crater in the ground right now, and I feel like compensation is in order.
Compensation? No. Hey, look, man, I didn't force you to give me your energy, okay? I just asked. If you're not running a charity, man, you shouldn't have given it to me.
Yeah, I already ran a charity for over a year before Patreon. Besides, when I said I had shit to do, I meant I had to walk the lonely baloney pony. So either you owe me $20 or you owe me a handy. Either way, I'm not leaving until my stress is gone.
Oh my fucking god. Fine. You want to destroy this movie? Fine. Go right ahead. Make your own spirit bomb and destroy this piece of shit. See if I care. But I'm not giving you any of my energy.
Thanks, Daddy.
Alright then. Wait, what?
Satire is certainly not what this is. Satire is the use of exaggeration and caricatures to criticize or outright mock something, which at first sounds exactly like what Mama Fishman is going for, given her views. However, any humor or satirical elements are not intentional. It's due to bad delivery, not being a good character that you want to see succeed. Nothing here is satirical, at least not overtly. It's not really funny. It's not remotely clever. It's not even so bad it's good. It's just a bad movie. It's just poorly written, produced, directed, and executed overall. If making a point by showing the silliness of hookup culture and shallowness were the actual intention, it still failed as satire because it's creating straw men and women to do the work, and that's not compelling or telling, it's just lazy. This film is like a full-length, colorized version of those 1950 PSAs, the ones that promote a closed mind and an out-of-touch perspective, and in between, it's as cringe-inducing as the worst of Disney TV movies. I don't mind if people are abstinent or religious or whatever, but her satirical look lacks any nuance, and it isn't on the nose enough to claim it's supposed to be stupid. It just is stupid. But really, I don't need to tell you that. If you actually believe her, then you're likely not watching any of these reviews because your head is as in the sand as hers is. But for what it's worth, the reviews and jokes that came from people ripping this movie a new 30 assholes to get fucked by some stranger on Tinder is far more entertaining than the movie itself. So there's that.
You done? You good? You get that all out of your system?
Yeah, that felt good. For now, anyway.
Well, good. Wait, for now? What do you mean by that?
Ooh, ominous foreshadowing. Anyway, see you later, Razor.
Hey, wait, hey, come back! What do you mean by that? What the fuck did he mean by that? But I guess I have to agree with him. There's just no subtlety here in this movie. Everything's about as ham-fisted as that baloney pony shade was going on about. Ugh. There's just no room for interpretation that the audience can make for themselves. Again, guys, this isn't an insightful look at modern dating culture and dating apps. It's just an old grouchy lady screaming to kids that they're all a bunch of whores who deserve whatever happens to them. Again, Ann, you didn't need to make a fucking movie to tell us this shit. We all know Shade's a whore and he fucking loves it.
Hey, I heard that, Razor.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I hurt your feelings? Who's desperate for money again?
Me. I am Daddy.
Stop fucking calling me that! And what do you mean? It's honestly amazing how inept this movie is from head to toe, and yet, honestly, there's really no end to it. You can analyze this film yourself, you can watch other reviews on it, and honestly, it's not going to make that much of a difference. I mean, there is already so many things that I didn't cover, but at the same time, there's already other videos that have talked about this travesty. Yeah, I could talk about how the grandpa looks like Donald Trump if he sat in the sun for too long, and I could talk about the fifth wave feminism.
It's like fifth wave feminism.
I like it.
Yeah, that's a thing. I could talk about the horrible ADR that's in the movie sometimes. Yeah, that was totally the same microphone. Again, I could go on for hours, but seriously, what would the point in that be? I think I've made my point very clear. This movie is hot fucking garbage, which was shat all over by a feminist fairy. I think I've said everything that I need to about Swiped. It truly is a mess in every way, shape, or form. You can watch as many reviews about Swiped as you want, and you can look up all the shitty things that Mama Fishman has done, but it really doesn't matter in the end, because no matter how many reviews you watch, no matter how much you yourself analyze the movie, Swiped will always be worse than you know. The more videos I make, the more I graduate to another milestone on my YouTube channel, because I had to make a rhyme, but it was a shitty rhyme and I apologize. But no, seriously guys, I want to say thank you guys all so much for helping me reach 1,700 subscribers. You guys are the absolute best. I still can't believe we reached this many milestones so quickly in the last couple of months. It really does mean the world to me. It really does. I also want to give a special shout out to Shade Nocturne for guest starring in this video. Thanks a bunch, man. You are the best. Shade is a really talented YouTuber. He's really funny, so I'm going to leave a link in the description to his YouTube channel and to his Patreon. So if you feel like supporting him and giving him some love, be sure to go there. Lord knows he needs it, the whore. but no, seriously, Shade, thanks a lot, man. You're the best. I also want to give a shout out to Levy Peabody for all the awesome fan art she keeps sending me. She keeps sending me fan art more than anyone else, and it's just absolutely awesome. Every video I have, there's a piece of her fan art there, and it's absolutely awesome. So keep it up, Peabody. You're the absolute best. I want to say thanks again for watching, everybody, and as always, rock on.